Alright, episode number 13 of West Coast Wednesday. Jeez, these next several episodes, these next coming weeks are going to be extremely jam-packed with a lot of stuff to discuss about, specifically Sonoma, where I just came back from the circuit just yesterday, so I'm recording this on a Tuesday, June 25th. As you notice, no intro on the Sonoma race. There will be no hype video as well for the Douglas County race, and here's why. I've decided by myself to make it more convenient, more simple, because remember, I get no money out of this deal. So for me, not getting any money out of this deal by choice is too difficult to really be on command and demand to do the review of Sonoma, knowing that the first 7 laps are missing because they were not aired on fanschoice.tv. And for me to do a proper highlight is for me to show the start. And also, if you notice those introductory videos and high videos, I include the start in some way, shape, or form. Because there's no start yet until the NBCSN race is aired, I can't do a full proper review with the highlights. So, here's how it's going to happen, as you saw in the title. I'm going to discuss my thoughts about Sonoma and the preview for Douglas County. It's the only time, if memory serves correctly, that there's K&N West in consecutive weeks. This is the first one, and we're wrapping up the first half of the season. So we're going to discuss my thoughts and my raw thoughts about Sonoma in this week, and with the preview. Then the following week, the following week, you will see a full review of Sonoma. And then also, for that one, and also in a separate episode, I'll give my thoughts of the race in Douglas County. It'll be probably a short episode. You'll see the championship standings and all that. Then, the week after Douglas County, you will see the review of it. For me, no doubt Sonoma is the race of the year, the most controversial one. There were 32 entries. One's Rookie of the Year title aspirations is pretty much dead in the water. The championship trail is now separated by a single point. And honestly, nobody of those championship contenders really contested at all. From the opening lap to the very last one, the 57th lap, because the race extended from 50 to 57. You had a long red flag, you had multiple overtime attempts, and also you just had a controversial finish where Noah Gragson ended up being victorious, capturing another K&N West win on a road course, because he's done it before in Utah. I'm running it down for you on the preview. Ryan Preece was angry beyond belief. Calling out NASCAR for it is pretty much implying it's their rules, their playground, they get what they want. He was extremely unhappy, and it kind of carried on to Sunday's race where he was extremely non-factor at all. The same thing can be said about Austin Dillon, who was probably not as good as Ryan Preece was on Sunday. So yeah, let's discuss about it. As I mentioned, next Wednesday, you'll get a full breakdown, full review of the race of Sonoma. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it because I'll show the highlights and give final thoughts. But here's what went down. Essentially, Haley Deegan started on the pole, captured a pole on the road course. She did not have that lead for long as the Cup regulars, just as Ryan Preece and Noah Gragson were starting to pretty much own the race. They pretty much took it from the drop, and they kind of pulled away. They were having their own little race. Now, further back was Brittany Zamora, who had an electrical problem on the dashboard where it took her out of the running. Oh, and also another driver that was out earlier was Travis Milburn. He would drop from a couple spots in the standings. He's now 10th. Yes, Takuma Koga is actually ahead of Travis Milburn as a result. Koga was no factor of this race at all. From my vantage point, for this race, I was more on live tweets / photography. It's pretty much my own free time because I already covered all the Cup stuff, wrote about it for Motorsports Review, and already did all that. So once I got to the turns 11 and 12, that's where Zamora's car went into pits. It had problems. They opened up the hood to figure out what's going on, and I knew immediately as the hood opened and knew she had problems, I said, Rookie of the Year is over. Jagger Jones won Rookie of the Year. As I mentioned, this is the one race you do not want to have a bad race at all because it's double the field. And when you find out the entry list for Douglas County this Saturday, 7:55 Pacific, live on fanschoice.tv. Hopefully the stream is running well where we don't miss opening laps and further pushes the highlight reel. I could say, honestly, screw the first 7 laps and just get going on lap number 8. But no. I want to use it to max potential. Those highlight reels. It's going to make something matter. Sure, as I said, you won't get to see the highlights, but you will next week, next Wednesday. And then as far as, it'll be 2 episodes, actually. Get 1 separate episode of the review of Sonoma, the full highlights and everything. And then the second one will be a quick thoughts of the Douglas County race. And then the following week it will be the full review of the race this Saturday. It's kind of like last week, where you had the review of the Colorado race and the preview in a separate episode. This one is the review/preview. Review Sonoma, quick thoughts, and then the preview of Douglas County. I decided to just do both at the same time because there's really a lot of stuff going on. And as far as the hype video, you will see the hype video before the race goes down. That is a certain fact. That is no problem. That is no problem at all. It's doable. It's simple. When it comes to highlights and discussing about it in full raw thought, it takes a while. So Samora was out. It was electrified. And then not that long after, Derek Kraus, the championship leader, who came into the Sonoma 12 points ahead of Haley Deegan, had problems of his own. They opened the hood up. I said, oh no, because then that said Deegan is going to come out with a pretty good points lead. She's going to come out with a pretty good points lead. But no, the Kraus only lost, I think, 1 or 2 laps. You'll find out in the results in just a second. I'll mention it again on the highlights as well. But he came back, no DNF, and that was crucial. Because had he had his race ended there, you have a really good championship battle. And I think with those races, it could put Deegan in a good spot. But remember, you have those combo races at Iowa and Gateway later on. So that could all change for the better of Kraus or for worse. So as the race was kept going, Ryan Preece and Noah Gregson Ryan Preece pretty much had this race in control. Will Rogers was driving the Levine car. He was really not a factor at all this race. And I said to myself, it's that 7 car. Jefferson Pitts brings a good road course car, a really good one. And it showed with Noah, who was no slouch. Sure, he pretty much had to move Todd Gilliland in one of those races at Utah. But I noticed it was just going to come down to these two. And Daniel Hemrick from out of nowhere was knocking on the door too. Daniel Hemrick was not doing too bad. He was top 5 for a good majority of it. The one I'm a little bit disappointed was Cole Custer in the 3rd Bob Brucati car. Well, all Bob Brucati cars didn't do all that spectacular. Jagger Jones, out of the 3, Jagger Jones drew a good eye. He was right up there in the top 10. He was outperforming the living hell out of Trevor Huddleston. I said, well, at this point, he's got to gain the most spots possible because I was thinking in the back of my mind, and back of his mind, probably saying, run your race. Rookie of the year is pretty much now given to you. Because remember, average, it's about 15. The only two more races I can see being more than 15 or about 20 or more. And those are those combo races at Iowa and Gateway. So, honest, and with that being said, I don't know how will Zamora catch up for Rookie of the Year. It's going to require her to get a couple wins, and Jagger Jones have problems right out of the gate. That's the only way I can see it happen. But Jones was having a really pretty stout race. I mean, his father, P.J. Jones, was a road racer, a really good one in his time, especially during the Gurney Toyota days. So this was no surprise. Just none of the regulars were not a factor. None. None at all. None at all. Deegan was still running her own race. And of course, I got to say it again, Deegan versus Jones. Jones versus Deegan. This is nothing new. It's the same song and dance at this point this season. This has been the theme of every race, it seems. They were really battling. And now also add into the and add this driver to the mix. Jim Engelbright in the white number 1. This car was completely destroyed. Well, Jagger Jones takes top billing, but his car was completely ruined as well, especially at the end where the air hoses were sticking out in the hood from my vantage point when I was at Victory Lane. So it was a mess. And then Oh boy, then at the very end, hell broke over when Lawless Allen and a Bill McAnally car, the number 12, slammed the tire barriers in hard, full force. We've seen that before in Cup with, I think it was Martin Truex Jr. in 2015. That brought out the red flag and destroyed the tire barriers and took some wall damage. That was a huge hit for my banners. I was still in turn 11 and 12 doing photos. I was there for 50 minutes. I was literally there for about an hour. And how many laps we were run? About 5 or 6. I was thinking, well, looks like Priest probably maybe on his way to win. Daniel Hemrick and Noah Gragson may not get there in time. But then the red flag came out, which, by the way, is the first red flag for the Can-Am West this season. Not counting those breaks, of course. I don't count breaks as red flags or halfway marks or stage breaks or whatever you want to call it. Of which Priest was still in control. So his car was completely destroyed. It wasn't that terribly terribly badly damaged compared to Bill Can later on, which would pretty much push the race even further and even more longer. And I think it was pushing to the point that it was going to be about the same distance as the Cup race the following day. And that race only had those stage cautions. There were no pure yellows in the Cup race, and this one was just a big mess. During the red flag, before we talk about what also went down, he was okay. First and foremost, he was okay. He got out of his car just fine. No issues at all. If I recall, I have to look at the race clips again. I need to see the full race, which was going to be a chore because I have a lot of stuff to worry about that is far beyond West Coast Wednesday. It's mostly personal. If I remember correctly, I think he might have gotten help by Jim Engelbright in the one. As if I recall correctly. Don't quote me on that. I have to look at the replay, look at the videos and all of that. There's no time for it right now as I'm speaking about this. But he was okay. But anyways, Noah Gragson was making moves on the top group. Well, in the bottom group, he was making moves 3 wide. He nearly completely lost the whole race. That he was gaining momentum. He was battling like Austin Dillon, Cole Custer, David Few. Then he went wide, lost all of his momentum, and he had to do it all over again. And about a lap, he pretty much replicated all that. And while all that replication and tremendous daredevil moves, some people in the media center, one or two in particular, saying that Noah has some driving instinct like Cale Yarborough. I don't know about that, to be brutally honest, because I never think, nor I ever would have think or thought or even consider Noah Gragson in the Cale Yarborough driving category as far as driving style. Ron J, in the past blue ribbon car, number 36. He will be running Douglas County. Ron J, I mentioned this early in the season. He was a movie chicane. He got in everybody's way. This time around, he was just wrecking everything. He wrecked any chance he got. And those incredible, wow, all that amazing battles with Noah Gragson would happen, and Ron J decided to make a complete ass out of himself, a complete fool that makes Ken Alexander look like Mark Martin in the Busch Series. Ken Alexander, Bristol 2002. Meet Ron J, Sonoma 2019. Garbage. To the point that the trucks, the tow trucks, had enough of his garbage that they decided they're going to stop him like they're the police, and they were going to put Ron J under arrest. No, he still kept running. He still kept running. He still kept looking like an idiot. He made a complete ass out of himself. To the point that they finally, I think the last car that hit the pits was the 36 car. Gragson was already celebrating victory lane, and the 36 was still running and lost and dumbfounded at everything. I could use many more profanity words, that was just bad from what he was completely terrible. Bad. They should have black flagged him after the second incident because of the live stream telecast. Because of his idiot ass, not many people didn't really get to see Noah Gragson make his move or see the move. We'll see at the NBC. We'll see how they'll execute that on the NBCSN broadcast because they got way too much stuff to cover. As a matter of fact, here's a sneak preview of the highlights. It's probably going to be opening laps. Brian Priest dominating. Dale Corley nearly slamming the tire barriers but kept it off. Cody Vanderwall spinning. He had another horrible race, unfortunately. And then about 70% of it is going to be just all these incidents with Bill Can, Carlos Vieira, Lawless Allen, and Ron J. And then the finish. That's all it is. And then at the very end of the race, after Bill Cannon had problems, green flag came out, but Ryan Preece, quote-unquote, jumped the restart, and which, by the way, Noah Gragson also got penalized for jumping the restart earlier when he had the lead. I think he had the lead or was second, I can't recall, for top of my head, worth the damn. He saw Noah Gragson in victory lane, interview-wise, in victory lane, he said the penalty was bull. Priest said the same thing to Clarity Lane, that the penalty was bull as well. So it was a bull for bulls on those restarts. And for me, from my vantage point in the clip, green flag was already waving and Priest was ahead. I didn't saw anything wrong, to be honest. Maybe I have to see him more times, but I'm definitely Priest on this one. But again, remember I said in the preview, I picked Dragster to win. Much to my chagrin, because of how I feel about him as a competitor, more or less as a person. But I knew with that 7 car, I knew that was going to be the car to beat. Will Rogers eviscerated the field. Noah did not really eviscerate it. And had he been in that spot, he had not been penalized, I don't think he would have eviscerated anyone. He still had to handle Ryan Preece. He would still have to. Austin Dillon was no factor at all. No factor at all. He was interviewed. I'm not sure if that will make air. Lawless Allen, you saw on Twitter that interview may be happening. When you guys see it, you'll get the point. But because of that, Priest was still ahead. And then in turn 11, Carlos Vieira, not in the same area, but not in the. He crashed the outside barrier this time. He spun on the inside barrier. When I was standing there turning 11 and 12, I was thinking, I see no yellow. Why are the lights not on? Where's the yellows? Are they really going to race back? And the window net was down. And then finally they threw the caution. I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm just going to go straight to victory lane immediately. I was basically done with this shit show. And I apologize for using... That's how I felt. I was like, yep, well, this race is over. Let's go. Let's see what happened. Then I was thinking, who won? I was thinking, wait, Gragson won? Because there were two, the Priest and Gragson across the line, like side by side. It was like very Robbie Gordon, Kevin Harvick, Eska Montreal 2007. It was like, okay, Gragson won. Let's just go. I don't know what happened between Jagger Jones, Jim Inglebright, and Haley Deegan. I heard there was some confrontation on that. So look, when I see it, I'll probably mention it. But Gragson took the victory lane. He broke the base of the trophy, snapped it and broke in half. And thankfully, unlike Sebastian Bourdais many years ago in an IndyCar podium, I think it was Edmonton. I believe that was a long time ago. The glass didn't break, and then nothing was dropped. So Gragson decided to hold the base of the trophy and the glass with 2 hands. This was a big win for him because, as I mentioned, he's been through hell for the past month. With his father's ordeal going down in Vegas, him not winning in a long time, then frustrated at how short he came up short of winning in Michigan over Tyler Reddick. This was a big win for him, no doubt. We'll see if that momentum will carry on into that next Xfinity race in Chicagoland, which will be the return of NBC Sports to start off really the second half. It's not literally the second half, but when the NBC takes over, it shifts to the second half of the 2019 season. And with that being said, definite mouthful of a race at Sonoma that to the point of frustration to a degree. Here are the final results of Sonoma. Noah Gragson was victorious, followed by Daniel Hemrick as second. Austin Dillon somehow survives, so all the managers will end up third. Cole Custer fourth, and David Mayhew, former Sonoma winner, rounds out the top 5. Will Rogers would not lead a single lap. He finished 6th. As a matter of fact, only 2 drivers led, Gragson and Priest. Gragson led 24, Priest led 33. Jing Inglebright is 7. Haley Deegan escaped Sonoma with an 8th place result. Dave Smith in a Bill McAnally base car. When you see it, it looks like straight out of the 99 car, but it is not a McAnally-owned car. It is a Sue McCurdy-led car. Ended up in 9th. Trevor Huddleston survives with a top 10 result. Then through 11 through 20 is Paul Pernicelli Jr., 12th Matt Levine, 13th Thomas Berger, 14th Jagger Jones, 15th Cody Vanderwall, 16th Jack Wood, 17th Takuma Koga, 18th Rich DeLaw, 19th Derek Krause. he would end up on the lead lap thanks to all these multiple cuts that got him back into the swing of things. But non-factor at all. Ryan Preece was penalized from 1st to 20th. He was the last car on the lead lap, let alone last car running. 21st on back, all failed to finish. Carlos Vieira, Bill Can, Ron J was finally penalized after many, many wrecks. Then you had Lawless Allen, Ron Nealon, Dale Quarterly, Todd Sousa. Same exact spot. Almost same exact spot. He blew his engine a year ago. Well, 2 years in a row, he lost an engine in the same spot in corner, turns 10 through 11. He finished 27th. Austin Thond 28. Brittany Zamora with a dismal, egregious 29th place result. Hollis Zachary 30th, Travis Milburn 31st, and John Wood 32nd. What a mess, what a performance, what a drama, what controversy. The championship trail has officially sickened for a lot of competitors, but sin for one driver. That is Hailie Deegan, who is now 1 point behind points leader Derek Kraus. Trevor Huddleston is 11 behind. Jagger Jones 13 behind. And at this moment in time, you can safely say it's now a 5-person title chase. Realistically, 4. Matt Levine moves up to 5th, 22 behind. Then 6 on back, long shots at best. They're probably out of this title chase for the time being. Brittany Zamora in 6th, 36 behind. Cody Vanderwall 38. Todd Souza in 8th, 47. Takuma Koga 64. And rounding out the top 10 of the championship trail is Travis Milburn 67 behind. Wow. Just wow. That's all I gotta say. Just that. There's not much to it. And when you see the highlights, if you haven't seen the race, or when I discuss about it, you'll see why I'm just discussing about all my raw thoughts and emotions right now instead of with the whole race highlights and wait till next week, because you have Douglas County, the halfway mark, set round 7 of 14. So here are the entry lists for round 7. It's only 14 cars. 14. We went from 32 to 14. So here are it's your usual suspects except for one. Jagger Jones, Travis Milburn, Trevor Huddleston, Matt Levine, Todd Sousa, Derek Kraus, Hailie Deegan, James Cooley in the 31 will be making his first attempt at a K&N West race since 2016. Taylor Canfield is also another one coming into the mix. And yes, Ron J is racing at Douglas County. Probably for now. We'll say for now in case that doesn't happen. John Wood in the 38. Then Cody Vanderwall, Takuma Koga, and Brittany Zamora round out the field. That's 14 cars. That's 14 cars. That's essentially just 13 points. And the only reason why I'm saying Zamora is going to have a tough time, because usually you're only getting 1 or 2 spots. She's got to basically have to beat Jagger Jones by 3 or 4 spots every single race from here on out. She's pretty much got to. Hopefully that will bring the fire. Well, she did. Well, not literally, but it's going to be interesting. That rookie battle is pretty much I hate to say it, a runaway, because you're saying that it's a 23-point gap, 23-point deficit. That's going to be a storyline for the rest of the season. Can Zamora catch Jagger Jones for Rookie of the Year? We all know right now the championship battle is going to come down to Kraus, Deegan, Jones, and Huddleston. For Jones and Huddleston to be into that mix, they got to capitalize on Douglas County. They got to capitalize on these races. Just beat them outright as best as they can right now. If they don't, it's going to be a 2-person battle. It will be a 2-person battle more than likely come to Phoenix, Arizona in the finale. And Douglas County was really the first race that I said Deegan could win a race in 2018. And I told a pal of mine that before I headed to Meridian, I said this is going to be the race Deegan wins, because it's to me it looked auspiciously similar to Douglas County. It's a flat circuit. It's a slim circuit. It fits the track. It fits her style. And by the way, this race at Douglas County once again will be live on FansChoice.tv at 7:55 Pacific Standard Time, 10:55 Eastern. The race title is the Clint Newell Auto Group Toyota 150 presented by Napa and Ineos. June 29th, Roseburg, Oregon. So let's just go with this. This was a race that Kraus won a year ago. I do think Kraus will win again. which means Kraus is my pick to win and will extend the championship lead. Who I say is going to keep an eye on? I honestly keep an eye on Brittany Samora, see how much she's going to gain on Jagger Jones for Rookie of the Year honors. Dark horse, I say Trevor Huddleston. Trevor Huddleston's going to be the dark horse. Because really, when you look at that list, it's going to be the usual suspects, but not much really to emphasize on. There really isn't really much to emphasize. Other than that, championship trail is now down by 1. And Samora is trailing for that Rookie of the Year. So we got 3 storylines now for the rest of the season. The championship chase between Deegan and Kraus. One trying to make history of all histories. The other one trying to be the first undisputed K&N Pro Series champion. As has been mentioned, Dylan Kwasinski won both titles, but they were in separate years. And he won the West one year, and then the following year he moved to the East and won it. Nobody has done it in both series at the same time in the same year. Nobody's done that. Todd Gilliland tried it. He came up short because Harrison Burton won the East. Kraus has a 1-point lead. He's got to worry about Haley Deegan for now. And then the East has got to worry about Sam Mayer. And to maybe Tanner Gray. That East is going to be very interesting. And the West is pretty much now a 2-person race at this time of the year. Who knows? Maybe Deegan has a really dominant one, and then Kraus does not. And then it's just a matter if Deegan survives the East Coast races that are the combos, Iowa and Gateway. I still think those two races that's going to determine the championship, whether or not Deegan's going to be a contender or not, it's going to be Gateway and Iowa. Roseburg, it's going to take 2 spots for Deegan to take the championship lead back over Kraus. 2 spots. If memory serves correctly, 2 spots. Or win. Simple as that. But it's going to be a McAnally runaway in this one. That's why I said Trevor Huddleston's the dark horse. The one to keep an eye on some more. It's more or less to see how much of a factor he'll be and can she catch Jagger Jones from here on out. 23 points. It's big deficit in the K&N West series. It is when you consider the average size is between 14 to 16 cars. So yeah, I said the one race you do not want to have a bad result. It happened to Zamora and almost happened to Derek Kraus, but it did not because he survived all the mayhem that beside him. He finished on the lead lap. Well, everybody that finished the race ended up on the lead lap. So yeah, that's pretty much all. There's not much to really discuss about as far as the preview because for Douglas County, because all of what happened in Sonoma is pretty much in loose to what's going to happen this weekend, and Douglas and Oregon. Can Zamora catch Jones for the rest of the year for the Rookie of the Year honors? Can Deegan put a string of good races where she can pull away? Can Regan, the points lead back, but pull away from Derek Kraus? And can Kraus not have any bad luck? We come back to that. Can he have good luck from here on out? And I do believe he can have good luck. Because he's going for 2 titles now. He's pretty much going for 2 championships. If he has a good, and it's come back to our track, he's won. Douglas County is going to be in the race that I do say Deegan does not get the points lead. Kraus extends the points lead. And if he does that, and then heading those combo races, do it again, I say Kraus could lock up the championship before Phoenix. But you never know. You never know. Look what happened at Colorado. If this has been the tale of the whole K&N West season, anything can happen. You don't know what to expect. Obviously, look at Sonoma. We didn't expect to have that controversy between national tour drivers over who jumped the restart and whether they're right or wrong. The regulars, the title contenders, were not factors at all. And the one regular that was probably had a good shot at going for the title, a dark horse, fell out of the race early. And now we're talking about Rookie of the Year title aspirations being dead out of the water. So yeah, everything that happened at Sonoma is essentially stuff to keep in mind for the race this Saturday. So that's why, at the end of the day, this episode is both review Sonoma and a preview to Douglas County because they're both intertwined and they both connect really well. Next week, next Wednesday, you'll see highlights of the race at Sonoma and more thoughts about that race from a visual standpoint, instead from a vantage point of view of one section of the track, and using my camera lenses to understand what's going on and make a fairly decent assessment. So you'll get your traditional highlights of Sonoma next Wednesday, and then the following Wednesday, you'll get the Douglas County. So there'll be 2 West Coast Wednesdays next week. The full breakdown of Sonoma with the highlights and all that stuff that I usually do. And then on a separate episode, thoughts of what went down in Douglas County. And then obviously next week you'll get a highlight reel. And then the rest of the season should be back in its traditional form, where the week before, the week of the race, you get a hype video and preview. And then after the race, in the Wednesday after the race went down, you get highlights, and point standings, results, and all that stuff. The full fashion presentation. You know, for those who regularly watch, you know what I mean. I don't need to really explain this to you. But for the rest of the season, I don't think there should be much problem other than Meridian. That one may be delayed slightly. We'll see how that goes with the Meridian one, because I will be likely at Charlotte for the Roval, in which they've made an announcement that the chicane has been changed again, where the walls is extended back. I don't know how that's going to look visually, but we'll not have to worry about that for another time. Anyways, that pretty much does it. My pick to win is Derek Kraus for Douglas County. Noah Gregson wins a controversial and chaotic race at Sonoma. So until we meet again, it's going to be quite messy. This episode's quite messy, to be honest, because it's raw thoughts instead of just knowing what went down. Because, of course, when you have highlights, you can fully explain it in a highlight. When you don't have it, you got to go just from raw perspective. That's what it was. Anyways, catch you guys later. Next Wednesday, you'll see the review of Sonoma, full breakdown and highlights, and of course, my initial thoughts of the race in Douglas County. Before the following Wednesday, you get highlights. So for now, I got stuff to worry about. Enjoy the rest of the weekend, and catch you guys later.